What if I told you that everything happening in the world right now was predicted decades ago by a woman who saw President Kennedy's assassination before it happened? And what if her most chilling prophecy points to this year, 2025, as the moment that changes everything for humanity forever? You're about to discover why millions of people are calling Jeane Dixon the most accurate prophet in modern history, and why her final prediction about 2025 is sending shockwaves around the globe. But here's what will absolutely blow your mind. She's not the only one pointing to this exact year. Multiple prophets, ancient texts, and even modern-day time travelers are all converging on the same terrifying date. So buckle up, because what you're about to learn might just change how you see the world forever. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end, because the final piece of this puzzle will leave you speechless. Picture this, it's 1942, and Hollywood's biggest star, Carole Lombard, is getting her hair done at the most exclusive salon in America. Suddenly, a mysterious woman approaches her with an urgent warning that sounds absolutely insane. "Don't fly for the next 6 months," she whispers. "If you do, you'll die." Most people would laugh it off, right? Well, Carole Lombard did exactly that. She had a flight in 6 days, and nothing was going to stop her. But here's where this story gets absolutely chilling. Just 6 days later, her plane crashed into a mountain, killing all 22 people on board. The woman who gave that warning? Jeane Dixon, the psychic who would go on to predict some of the most shocking events in American history. But this wasn't just luck or coincidence. This was the beginning of a pattern so accurate, so consistently terrifying, that even world leaders would seek her out in their darkest hours. Imagine being so accurate with your predictions that the most powerful man in the world calls you to the White House in the middle of the night. That's exactly what happened to Jeane Dixon in November 1944. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the man who led America through the Great Depression and World War II, was desperately ill. His body was failing, and he knew it. When Dixon arrived at the White House, Roosevelt didn't ask about war strategies or political advice. He asked the one question that haunted him: how much time do I have left? Without hesitation, Dixon looked into his eyes and delivered a death sentence: no more than 6 months. On April 12, 1945, Franklin D. Roosevelt died, exactly as she predicted. But here's what makes this even more incredible. Years earlier, she had also told a relatively unknown senator named Harry Truman that he would one day become president. When Roosevelt died, guess who stepped into the Oval Office? Harry S. Truman. The woman who started seeing the future as a 5-year-old child had just proven she could predict the fate of the most powerful nation on Earth. Jeane Dixon's story begins in 1904 in Wisconsin, where a little girl with an extraordinary gift was born into an ordinary Catholic family. But there was nothing ordinary about what happened next. At just 5 years old, Jeane became obsessed with getting an envelope with a black border. She begged her mother for it every single day, even though no such envelope existed in their house. 10 days later, a letter arrived. It was a funeral announcement for her grandfather, enclosed in an envelope with a black border, exactly as little Jane had described. This was just the beginning of a lifetime of impossible predictions. When her father went on a business trip to Chicago, 7-year-old Jane excitedly told her mother, "Daddy's bringing home a big black and white dog." But days later, her father returned with exactly that, a large black and white dog that matched her description perfectly. But the moment that changed everything happened in 1911. Her parents took her to meet an Egyptian palm reader in California, a woman famous for reading people's destinies. After studying young Jeane's palm, the woman's face went white. She looked up at the parents and said words that would echo through history. "Your daughter will be a great prophet, someone who can see across time." She handed Jeane a crystal ball and a silk cloth. The moment Jean touched them, something incredible happened. She looked at the palm reader and whispered, "Be careful with the stove. You're about to get burned." A few days later, the woman suffered a severe kitchen accident, exactly as Jean had warned. The prophecy that shocked the world by the 1940s Jeane Dixon, had become America's most sought-after psychic. World leaders, celebrities, and politicians all wanted to know their fate, but it was her prediction about Winston Churchill that really put her on the map. In 1945, when Churchill was at the height of his power as Britain's wartime prime minister, he asked Dixon a simple question during his visit to America. "Will I be re-elected?" Without hesitation, she told the most powerful man in Britain that he would lose spectacularly. Churchill's face flushed with anger. Everyone expected him to win easily. But just months later, Dixon's prophecy came true when Churchill suffered a crushing defeat in the general election. However, it was her next prediction that would make her a household name and forever change how America viewed psychics. In 1956, she made a bold prediction in Parade magazine that seemed impossible at the time. The Democratic nominee would win the 1960 presidential election, but he would be assassinated during his first term. At the time, John F. Kennedy hadn't even officially declared his candidacy. Most people dismissed her prediction as a publicity stunt, but as 1963 approached, Dixon's visions became more vivid and terrifying. She saw dark clouds hanging over the White House, black hands erasing the president's name from his office door, and most chillingly, she saw a name, 5 to 6 letters, starting with O, second letter S, ending with a letter curved like a fishhook. On November 22, 1963, President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. Hours later, the name Lee Harvey Oswald flashed across television screens nationwide. The O, the S, and the D curved like a hook, exactly as Dixon had described 7 years earlier. America was stunned. This wasn't just a lucky guess. This was impossible precision that defied all logic. From that moment on, the press dubbed her the Seer of Washington, and her reputation as America's most accurate prophet was sealed forever. But among all of Jeane Dixon's incredible predictions, there was one year she mentioned over and over again with growing urgency: 2025. In her 1971 book, The Call to Glory, she described visions that reached far into the future, painting a picture of events that would reshape all of humanity. Her first major prediction? In the year 2020, a global war will break out. Not a war of bullets and bombs, but a war of disease. When COVID-19 exploded across the world in 2020, shutting down entire countries and claiming millions of lives, people remembered Dixon's words with chilling clarity. Was this the war of disease she had foreseen decades earlier? But if 2020 was just the beginning, what did she see for 2025? According to her book, My Life and Prophecies, Dixon predicted that 2025 would mark a bloody turning point between two major powers in Asia, China and Russia. She described a conflict that wouldn't just be about territory or politics, but a battle for control over the destiny of the entire world. In her vision, China would emerge victorious. Now, we're already several months into 2025. And while we haven't seen the exact war she described, we are witnessing an unprecedented economic standoff between global superpowers. Could Dixon have been seeing the intense trade wars and economic battles that are reshaping the world order right now? Her predictions have always been accurate in outcome, even if the specific details sometimes shifted. Here's where this story gets absolutely mind-blowing. Jeane Dixon wasn't the only one pointing to 2025 as a year of unprecedented change. In 1999, a Japanese manga artist named Ryoko Tatsuki published The Future I Saw, documenting 15 prophetic dreams she'd experienced. 14 of those dreams have already come true with startling accuracy. The 15th dream, the only one that hasn't happened yet, points to a specific date, July 5th, 2025. According to Tatsuki's vision, a disaster greater than Japan's devastating March 11th earthquake will strike the South China Sea, causing a new landmass to rise from the ocean floor, physically connecting Japan with Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines. But wait, it gets even more incredible. Also in Japan, a mysterious figure claiming to be a time traveler from the year 2062 appeared on internet forums. Before the March 11th earthquake, he posted warnings urging people to flee to higher ground. His prediction was eerily accurate. Then, in 2022, he returned with another chilling message. The South China Sea will not be calm. Prepare for something never before seen. in July of 2025. Three completely different sources: an American psychic, a Japanese manga artist, and a supposed time traveler, all pointing to the same year, the same region, and the same sense of world-changing events. Is this the most incredible coincidence in history, or are we witnessing something far more profound? But here's something that might give you hope in all of this uncertainty. Jeane Dixon didn't just predict chaos and destruction. In her final interviews, she shared one more vision that she believed was the most important of all. Yes, there will be war and upheaval, but at the same time, a person of boundless love and compassion will emerge. This person will reconnect the severed threads between humanity and lead them toward lasting peace. She believed that 2025, while bringing great challenges, would also mark the beginning of a new era of human consciousness. Perhaps the trials ahead aren't meant to destroy us, but to unite us in ways we never thought possible. Throughout all of human history, we've been haunted by one simple but profound question: can the future be changed, or is it already written in stone? Jeane Dixon spent her entire life wrestling with this dilemma. She could see what was coming, but could she, or anyone else, actually change it? We may not be able to stop earthquakes or prevent wars, but we can choose how we respond when these moments arrive. We can choose whose hand we hold in the darkness, whose voice we listen to in the chaos, and whose love we carry forward into an uncertain future. So here we are, living through the very year that multiple prophets have pointed to as humanity's turning point. Whether you believe in prophecies or not, one thing is undeniable: we're living in unprecedented times. The world is changing at a pace we've never seen before, and the events unfolding around us seem to echo the warnings given decades ago. Maybe these predictions are just coincidences. Maybe they're the result of pattern recognition and educated guesses. Or maybe, just maybe, there are some people who can truly see beyond the veil of time, offering us glimpses of what's to come. The real question isn't whether these prophecies will come true. It's how we'll respond when they do. Will we be prepared? Will we stand together? Will we choose hope over fear, love over hatred, unity over division? What's your take on all of this? Have you ever experienced something that felt prophetic? Do you think 2025 really is humanity's turning point? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and some of the most incredible stories come from you, the viewers. If this video opened your eyes to something you'd never heard before, smash that like button to help more people discover these incredible stories. And if you want to dive deeper into the mysteries that shape our world, from ancient prophecies to modern-day phenomena, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, what's coming next will blow your mind even more than this story did. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll explore even more incredible predictions that are unfolding right before our eyes. Until then, keep your eyes open. You never know what signs the universe might be sending your way.